What's going on, YouTube? Welcome back to the channel. For those of you stopping by for the first time, if you see something that you like here today, please don't forget to subscribe at some point. Those of you stopping by that have been here before, welcome back to TLTG Reviews, my friends. Glad you came to see me. So one that I had been wanting for a long time, actually ended up going with this one instead of the more popular Dior Sauvage. Could it be the Dior Sauvage Killer? It's from Prada, Luna Rossa, Carbon. Stay tuned. So Prada Luna Rossa Carbon, in my opinion, kind of a better smell overall than Sauvage the Eau de Toilette. You know, I would say that's what it's most comparable to. We'll get a little bit more in depth into the smell and the performance here shortly, but first let's take a look at this presentation. So first and foremost, with the box, it's very reflective on the bottom. Says Luna Rossa, size and concentration, carbon, with a matte finish paint on the box with that classic Prada stripe that comes all the way around to the top. Nothing on the sides. Batch code, barcode, some information on the bottom, and not a whole lot of information on the back. Decent box, nothing special, fits the line. Now moving into this bottle, in my opinion, this is the coolest looking of the Prada Luna Rossa bottles. Very heavy, very thick base that's rubberized, says Carbon on the bottom, with a smoke colored glass up top, which most of them, the glass is on the bottom, and there's some sort of aluminum on the top. Has the Prada stripe, red dot where the sprayer is on the atomizer, has that distinct atomizer style with the little cap that comes with it to stop you from spraying it, even though there is a hole in the middle, so it could actually happen still nonetheless. And on the bottom, fragrance information. Get it to where it'll focus. There we go, batch code, size and concentration, so on and so forth. So in regards to the presentation, I do really like this bottle. I really do. The box is nothing special, but as far as the bottle, I'm digging it. This was actually one of my favorite scent of the day pictures that I've done. I actually took that picture, I'll put that right here, with my Patty Samurai from Seiko. You know, some people probably won't care, but I thought it looked cool for one of my scent of the day pictures. So for the presentation, I'm actually going to give this one an 8 out of 10. Now in regards to this scent, it was released in 2017. It's classified as an aromatic fougere. I'll put the notes right here, and I am actually going to spray my hand. So the atomizer sprays nice and wide, and I smell it out in the air. So in this opening, it's very sharp metallic ambroxan, but you're getting a lot of soapy lavender up top. So this lavender really smooths this out. It's not too sharp and too aggressive like Sauvage can be for some. Don't get me wrong, you're going to be reminded heavily of Sauvage. This smells like Sauvage with a lot of lavender in the opening. Sauvage the Eau de Toilette. But that lavender just smooths it out so much. It gives a barbershop, almost barbershop aromatic quality to this. Soapens up the opening a little bit and really smooths out the ambroxan. You do get a hint of pepper and a little touch of the bergamot. I don't really get a lot of the citrus, but the citrus I'm smelling, I know is bergamot because that's what's in there, but it doesn't really just distinctively smell like bergamot. It just has a juiciness that's kind of there underlying under the ambroxan and the lavender. And in the transition, that smoothness really edges off those metallic notes that are ever so present in this. And then you do start to get like a dark earthy tone from that soil and the coal that's in this one. It doesn't just smell like dirt or anything like that, but it does give a earthier, kind of dirtier, it's hard to really describe, type of tone to it that starts to become present more and more as it dries down and the lavender starts to fade and the ambroxan really starts to settle down. The pepper doesn't really play a prominent role. I don't really get much spice from this. The most prominent notes to my nose is definitely the lavender and ambroxan, the metallic notes, and then that coal and soil really play a prominent role, because once you start getting into that dry down, the lavender really softens up a lot. The ambroxan starts to fade. Even though it's listed as a base note, it's more in the top and heart of the fragrance and early dry down. The deep dry down, it tends to fade away, and you're just left with that dark earthiness with just a slight little touch of lavender and ambroxan in the base. Overall, it does change, not a whole lot, as much as what you get in the opening just tends to fade and the darker, earthier tones come out more, and that's what you're left with later on. You can tend to, at least I know I did, get a little bit anosmic to it. Like 4 hours in, I thought, wow, really? This thing's been reformulated to where it's just faded like that? Did I really get 4 hours? And I walked by somebody and they said, wow, that smells good. What are you wearing? So I gave it a chance. I purposely every hour would walk by a few people to see if somebody would say something, and I would walk by people until somebody said something. So I wanted to make sure, because I had became anosmic to it, and every once in a while I would get a slight waft of it to let me know it was still there. So because I really wanted to be as accurate as I could with testing and reviewing this fragrance. So the scent on this one I think is very lovely, beautiful. I prefer it to Sauvage Eau de Toilette. So for that, I'm going to give the scent an 8 out of 10. Longevity, like I said, I was walking around to really make sure I got as accurate as I could with it. I actually got in that 7-hour range. It wasn't as long as I thought it would be, but it also wasn't as short as the early on scare that I had. I did actually refresh later, about 3 hours before I left to go to the gym. And once I really started sweating and heating up at the gym, it really kind of lifted it more and really livened it up. God, it smells so good. And the lavender's starting to calm down already. That sharpness is smoothing over. But I did get 7 hours, so that warrants a 7.5 out of 10. Projection. So in that first hour, it's pretty damn heavy. It's arm's length and beyond, maybe a little beyond for about that first hour. Then the second hour, you're getting, you know, you have a real nice scent bubble going all the way to about the 2.5 hour mark, I would say. It's not as extreme as you would think. This is a more subdued version of Sauvage in a sense. It's not as aggressive, but it smells even more beautiful in my opinion. And then you do have a very mild scent trail, but there is always a scent trail for the entire life of this fragrance. When you walk by somebody, they get a whiff of you. I made sure to test that part of this out to make sure, because that was, once I went anosmic to it, that was the only way I could really know if it was still coming off of my skin. And that was the only way I could truly test it. So projection on this one's going to get a 7.5 out of 10 as well. Overall, Prada Luna Rossa Carbon is absolutely a 7.5 out of 10 fragrance in my opinion. I really like this. I really, really do. I'm so glad I have it. Don't be surprised if this makes the rotation more than most, because I do enjoy the way this smells a lot. I do. I got a lot of fragrances with ambroxan. I never had a full bottle of Sauvage. The closest thing I had is Alt Farouche, their version of Sauvage. And I don't wear that all the time because I'm not always in the mood to just smell like an ambroxan bomb. Well, this is a beautiful ambroxan bomb. Prada made this, took that DNA and made it better, in my opinion. I say this is the Dior Sauvage Eau de Toilette killer. If you don't have to have that super sharp, just almost irritating type of projection of ambroxan, because look, ambroxan, as good as it smells to most, to some, it gives them a massive headache and migraine. Luckily, it does not do that to me, and it does not do that to the people around me at my new job. But you got to be careful with ambroxan heavy fragrances because it's not good for some. This one absolutely does the trick, and I highly suggest you check this one out. And until next time, do me a real quick favor, go ahead and like, comment, subscribe. Do appreciate all the feedback. I love hearing from you guys. How many of you have tried Prada Luna Rossa Carbon? I know some of you that just swear by Dior Sauvage are going to be unhappy with what I said, but I think this is a Dior Sauvage EDT killer overall. I think this is a beautiful fragrance. That lavender really changes this thing for the better. And until next time, I will say, if you get your hands on this and you give it a couple of sprays, I'm pretty confident you'll thank me later. Have a good one, guys.